Well, I mean, I was expecting it. I didn't see a destination that would give him and provide him all the things that we in the media were so categorically false about. The money, the wins, the opportunity, all these things, right? And for me, it's the best decision not only for Aaron Rodgers but for the Green Bay Packers. Everyone wins here. The Packers could have lost if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers decide, we're going to go our separate ways. He could have potentially won, but I don't believe that there would have been any way the Packers win in that situation. You win bringing him back. He gives you the best option to win. He wins by staying because this provides the best opportunity to win. Again, going back to the Packers and why they could have potentially lost, because not only could you have lost Aaron Rodgers, you could have had a disgruntled and potentially lost then Davante Adams for the future. And so you bring Aaron Rodgers back, you retain Davante Adams, and you hope to run it back and get all the way over the hump. Now, with that being said, it's funny to me how last year it was never about the money. And now all of a sudden it was the money that pretty much did it. It sealed the deal because we knew they weren't going to let Davante Adams go. They weren't going to let him walk out the door. But Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, they are just a fit. This organization built themselves around his talents, his skill sets, and rightfully so, because he's one of the best in the business. He has always been one of the best in the business. And you lose a talent like that, playing at the level that he's played at the last few years, you couldn't afford it. You could not afford. The Packers are all about retooling, not rebuilding, and Aaron Rodgers understands that. And he gives them, again, the best opportunity to win. But for me, this was a lock from day one. I never really truly believed that he would retire. And
Greg,
me, the contract suggests that.
Greg, was it always about the money? Was this just a money play?
Well, for me, I don't think it was always about the money. I think he definitely wanted to ensure that there was going to be some changes made. And the Packers did that. Look, are we all married? We're all married. Yeah, we're all together. We all have partners, all the things. And you want to see changes made. You don't want to just have conversations and then you walk in the house and every day there's nothing being additionally added or actionable tasks or execution that is being played out. You want to see changes made. You bring in Tom Clemens. Last year you brought in Randall Cobb. You made me feel really good, warm and fuzzy inside. You've done all these things to suggest that, look, I'm working. I'm all in for you. I want you. It's you that I love. It's you that I want. Yes, we made a mistake with Jordan Love. We miscalculated. But please don't walk out the door on me because I realize that it's you. It's you. The Packers have done all that they should do to court, to lure, to whatever words you want to insert Aaron Rodgers into staying. When you say you're going to do all these things and you actually do it, you mean business. And that was the Packers. So for me, it wasn't just about the money, but as a player in this league, and you guys have covered players, you guys have been, look, we all have been around it. It's about two things. You want to win and you want to get paid. So, yes, it was about the money. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for obviously wanting to get paid, like you said, Greg. But he also knew, now Aaron Rodgers is not as smart as he thinks he is, but he's smart, all right? And he knows there is not a place in the NFL he could have gone to that gives him a better chance of winning a Super Bowl than Green Bay. There isn't. Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Denver, those would have been great choices, and they would have been contenders with Aaron Rodgers. But they wouldn't have had a better chance of winning it than the Packers. The Packers still, because of the NFC being depleted, now have a better chance than those three teams, even with Rodgers on them, to win the Super Bowl or at least get to the Super Bowl. So this was a smart move by Rodgers, but also it was a smart move by the Packers. Look, the pressure's on, and I'm going to be watching. I think it's one of the most intriguing storylines in the NFL. Will Aaron Rodgers win another Super Bowl? But even if he doesn't, I still think it was a smart move by the Packers because they are still relevant They are still a contender. They are still one of those mainstays in programs in the NFL. Look, they've had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers for the past 3 decades. 2 of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it, and they only have 2 Super Bowls. All right? But they've been relevant and contending for those 3 decades, essentially. And there's something to be said for that, Wilds. So this was the smart move on both sides to bring Aaron Rodgers back to Green Bay.
I agree with you. I also think Aaron Rodgers, when he officially signs his contract, should carve out about $10 million and send it to TB12. Because I think Tom Brady set the blueprint on how the Packers have behaved. The Packers looked at what the Patriots did and say, older quarterback who's really good. Let's draft his replacement. Either we'll end up starting him, or we'll inspire our older quarterback to new heights. That's what happened with Tom Brady and Jimmy G. That's what happened with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. Then, when Bill Belichick refused to do any of those things that you talked about, Greg, refused to show sort of the emotional commitment or pay heed to the other personal side of quarterbacks, the Packers did that. And I think we have not given Packers management, who got dragged through the mud for not treating Aaron Rodgers correctly and for drafting Jordan Love. I thought it was sad. I don't know what they did exactly. Maybe it was all those little things. But Aaron Rodgers got up there before the season and aired them out. And they just took it. And next thing you know, they've signed their quarterback for another 4 years. Were you surprised that this relationship was salvageable from the organization side, that they did what they needed to do?
I was surprised. I was very surprised, and I was surprised that Aaron Rodgers was willing to allow it to be salvageable, because he's one that once you get on that outskirts, it's almost a death sentence. There's almost no coming back. But you saw that they made a cognizant effort to every day chip away at that relationship to ensure that he knew that they weren't against him. And so that's what I believe this was all about. The Packers laid out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers, and they had to. They were in a position where they couldn't do otherwise.
Well, yes, and I believe, Wilds, after the show, I could drive to your studio and run you over with my car. And if a week later I gave you $200 million, we'd be friends again. Like, there's a lot of, I do think there's an element of, I did all these nice things. We brought in your guy. We brought back Randall Cobb. And it was still like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then it was, here's $200 million. And it's like, okay, we're good. Like, we're good. Like, so I do think that's an element there. But I want to ask Greg a question, because I said something earlier that I think you've probably heard Colin say a version of it, because Colin was the first person I heard say this, and I thought it was a light bulb moment for me. And he has used almost as a cudgel against Rodgers his lack of interceptions, that he's too careful, that he's too protective of his personal numbers, that he won't take risks. I'm sure Colin's talked with you about this. My question to you would be, do you think that's fair? And do you think for Aaron to take the next step is so weird because he's won 4 MVPs, but clearly something, he hasn't been quite the same guy in the postseason. Will you think it's a good sign if next year his interception numbers go up? If he is taking more chances and not as protective of, I don't know if it's passer rating, touchdown interception ratio, whatever it is. Like, do you think that's a legitimate theory, if you will?
It's a legitimate theory, no question. He's always been mindful of protecting the football and never wanted those numbers, even throwing the football away. You remember there was a season where he didn't even want to throw the football away. He would rather take the sack because it was going to be a negative against his statistics. So for me, yes, I think that is a legitimate reason, but I just don't see him being able to do that. Like, over the course of 17 years, he has not wanted to throw interceptions. And so all of a sudden, just to take chances, I'm going to just risk it all. when I was calling games, I called a couple of their games a couple years ago, and I sat down with them and we were talking about calculated risks. And his idea of calculated risk is really either the ball is going to be thrown away or my receiver is going to have an opportunity to make a play, but it's going to be deep down the field. So that's calculated. That means it's going to almost appear like it's a punt versus, man, I put my defense in a bad situation. Those are the types of calculated risk he's thinking of and just his psyche. But really quick, for me, this was I never thought that he was going to leave, because even though he's taken a lot of heat, the pressure for him to win outside of Green Bay would have been greater than him winning with Green Bay, regardless of this deal. Because Green Bay has always given him an out. Oh, they didn't have the right pieces. Oh, the defense wasn't this. Oh, it's never just solely been Aaron Rodgers just wasn't good enough. He knows that. But if you go somewhere else, the expectation is you're going and you're the piece. You're the piece. That's a lot of pressure. That's a different amount of pressure than always have you replace Brett Favre, and they've always had some pieces around you, but maybe not the right pieces. Went through that season of he didn't have talent. Now it's not really Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the talent around him. It's more Aaron Rodgers has to get it done.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.